man put in hours and hours of work on this project, and it made it come to fruition. And the results of what you see here today, he's the chairman of the cemetery board, Brother Jeff Smith. Good job, Jeff.
Wrote the program. I don't see my name on here, Don. Thank you all for being here. It has been an extraordinary venture to get to today. So many men worked so hard. It turned out pretty nice. We have a lot to talk about as the day goes by, and we can talk a lot afterwards and at the barbecue. Thank you for putting up with me. I just didn't see that one coming on.
I invited you on purpose.
What I would like to say at this time, we have a guest speaker, but before I introduce him, this project, the gratitude comes from the fellowship of the men who worked side by side. Blood, sweat, tears, laughter. It's the friendships that were developed here. Thank you. It is my pleasure to introduce a gentleman who used to walk this grounds when he worked for the United States Forest Service. He actually probably has walked most of all the Colorado National Forest. He's written a couple books regarding our territory up here, and he has a wealth of information regarding the Josephine mine itself. We'd like to ask him to give a little information on the mine and what he knows about it for the next couple, 2-3 minutes, and we'll close the ceremony and go to the next one. Guy Nick?
We really ought to thank the Native Sons of the Old West for keeping this up, because it's such a good chance they could just disappear. And Lord knows there's a lot of ground that has. I just point out my grandma's grandpa came out to California in 1846. He came by here in 1851, talked to the guy who was running the store. They had a lot in common. Both of them were mixed blood Cherokee. They had to write something in code, they could write it in Cherokee. A lot of the miners that came here, this is one of the things they just want to put into this. It's a unique community. The first gold rush wasn't here. It was 1827, the old Cherokee Nation in Georgia. Those people get removed from the Indian Territory in 1843, so when they heard about the gold rush out here, it was the golden economic opportunity. They had an 87% literacy rate, where the average American literacy rate was only 13%. So the Georgia Slide in Georgetown, Cherokee Hill, Cherokee Diggings, and a lot of them running this mine. Now this mine is producing an awful lot of gold. The town is a major economic center for decades. A lot of people don't see that. They go, God, it's a wilderness. And I know you guys were swatting off the rattlesnakes, wondering what on earth are we doing out here? And gold talks. Now just to point out, this place makes Tombstone look weak. If you want to talk about the Wild West, just to point out, right over here we had a gun battle. Jonathan Davis, doctor and a friend are mining. 14 outlaws attacked them. They'd murdered 4 people up in Forest Hill the day before. This is December the 13th, 1854. And in the first volley, the doctor's dead. The other man shot and mortally wounded. Jonathan Davis is a veteran of the Mexican-American War, served with distinction in the Palmetto Regiment, pulls his 2 Colt revolvers. By the way, they were Navy Colt 45s. Larger dimension than you would normally have. He managed to drop 7 of the outlaws as they attack. His guns are empty. He pulls his Bowie knife, kills 3 more. Takes another one's nose and part of his face off before the other 3 outlaws see his friends coming up, and they decide to leave. The guy with part of his nose they found a few yards away in the brush. I mean, this makes Tombstone look lame. And this isn't uncommon. This is a very unique lot of history to this whole region, and I feel very privileged to have been asked to come here to talk, and I know everybody's out here in the field and looks like they might be succumbing to heat stroke, so I'm going to cut this a little short. If you are interested in some of the fascinating history you have to hear, I've heard from my grandparents and others. Vera would always let my dad park down there. I've been down to the Josephine even when I was in diapers. And by the way, for those of you in the equestrian community that want to ride down that trail, even according to Wyatt Earp, who came here when his brother was after Tombstone. Virgil was the marshal in Novato. He commented about the stench. And this correlates to the story that my grandfather had talking to the postmaster here that worked up until 1917 for Josephine Post Office. They expected 7% loss in the mules and burros coming out of ore from Murderer's Bar every morning. That means 7% of those animals died. You cut off the pack, you put it against the mountain, you unhook the horse burro off the side of that cliff, reattach and come on out and know that you have to hook that many extra head for the next day. I don't think that's a positive equestrian recreational event. Sorry. This is some tough country. It's as tough as you'll ever find anywhere in the United States of the world. The history here is phenomenal. I'm going to turn this loose if you have more questions. But these chaps here are doing a fantastic job, and we wanted to try to preserve some of this fascinating history that's right here in your back step that's hidden off in this brush. Anyways, turn it back to you.